All right, so yeah, I'm really excited to give this talk. Good morning, everyone. So yeah, today I'm giving my talk on following up with customers and marketing. So really looking at the rep position as creating long-term relationships with real people instead of just like a one-time demo. So I'm just gonna ask a rhetorical question since I know it's like really early for a lot of you. But do you guys remember, like all of your customer names, where they lived, and like if they had kids and like everything like that? Probably not, especially if you have hundreds of people you sat down with so far. If you're still in your fast start, you might be able to still remember them, but chances are very low. But that's why it's like super important to take notes on your demos. So I'm just gonna briefly cover like how I took notes when I first started here, and then I'm gonna show you like how I take notes now. So these are a little bit anxious. These are I used to take notes in my like in a physical notebook when I first started. It is a little bit messy since I would literally write as the customer was speaking, like jot down important things. So first, I would write down their name, like their five favorite pieces they chose, and like what things they were interested in. If they bought, the number of referrals they gave me, and if there was a callback time, I would write that down also. And then sometimes I would write down their relationship to the person that referred me to them as well. So my note taking style, I feel like looking back on it, it was okay. It would have been more organized, and more consistent with each customer. But because I started taking notes in May of last year when I first started, I was able to follow up with so many people a year later um, for the push for the contest period back in spring, which I will be talking about later. And even though you might only be here for summer break or for a year, I would really just stress to treat the job like you're gonna be here forever, and take notes on your customers so you can like follow up with them. And if there's also a time that you do have to call them back, that you know what they're interested in, like what time you have to call them back, instead of just saying like, "Hey, Miss Jones, I remember I was supposed to, follow up with you. I don't remember the time or what you were interested in, but do you want to buy some knives for me?" Like that just sounds horrible, like you're unorganized. So if you can see here, remember this is I believe this is June of 2020. So I write down like their name here or like where they were from. I don't know why, but I like to write down like how many kids they have and like the age of their kids, just so that like in the future when I speak to them, I'm not like, say if they have older kids, I'm not saying like, oh, like how's your did they graduate yet when they're like 22. And so yeah, I would write down like their pieces and everything that they liked, and their relationship to the referral, and what time I will be following up with them. And this is, and like if I had a sale, like for example here, but this is the old way I took notes on my customers. So luckily there is a way that we have now, where we have the customer note spreadsheet, where you can follow up the customers. So I'm just gonna open that up in a new tab. I'm gonna share another screen actually. All right, so here we have, for example, like this is the customer note spreadsheet. I'm also just gonna put this in the chat for those of you who aren't using this already. So you basically just put like the name of the customer, what time you had the demo, the callback date, if you have that, like if they didn't buy it on the demo, you put their email, phone number, notes, things you spoke about. So here's where I like to put like I guess like random little things that I would remember, like from the demo, where they're from, if they purchased, their wish list, why they didn't buy, number of recs, if they were already a Cutco owner, who they were referred by, their job, and like their kids. These are two that I added to the spreadsheet because I feel like they're super important. Just because, like, I remember following up with a customer and I was like, "Yeah, like, how's your business going?" And I feel like when you remember those little things that they told you about, that's gonna be like really great for building relationships and like building rapport with them. Another thing that I had in my spreadsheet was I just added like a little tab here, for if they didn't buy, just so that I can like separate the buyers from the ones who didn't buy. But yeah, if you I would suggest like make go to files and make a copy on this. So now I'm gonna reshare my slide. Okay, found it. Oh, no, that's not it. Okay, found it. Okay, let me know when you guys. Okay, cool, I got it. All right, and so yeah, that's gonna be pretty important. And I'm not so callbacks are not ideal. I definitely recommend closing on the demo, when the information is fresh and exciting in their heads for the customer. But when you have a real legit callback, they definitely do come in handy, especially if you've been like building rapport with the customer like before the callback, and especially at the end of a push or a contest period. So first, I would definitely recommend when you're having like any type of follow up at all, even if it's the same day, I would definitely recommend setting reminders for yourself. So like when to follow up with them. You definitely don't want to have a callback time set up with someone and then never follow up. It shows that you're unorganized and that you're not persistent. So the chances of the customer caring that you didn't call them, is very unlikely, since you didn't, even make the effort to call them when you said that you were. Then it also shows accountability that you did remember that time when to call them. So me, I like to use the reminders app. So I like to set a reminder for 5 to 10 minutes before I'm supposed to call them. So say I have a callback, tonight at 6:30 with, Miss Jones. I would set a reminder for in my reminders app for 6:20, and then I would write down just like in the app like what they were interested in. And yeah, and that would give me enough time to read over my notes. And actually just checking right now, I still have like a bunch of this was of course like when I was not so good at the job, so I would get a lot of callbacks, but I still have callbacks like follow up with Christina, like flatware chest for Rochelle Johnson, and I have like 7/2/21 in the date and everything. And I would say, yeah, and I have like Shalina summer follow up like basic set and cookware, husband new house, and I have like July 1st 21. And also, what I recommend is just don't put Cutco related, talk about Cutco related things for your customers. I even have reminders for like customers' birthdays. So if they explicitly told me when their birthday is, I am definitely gonna reach out to them and wish them happy birthday. Just because it shows like you remember, like it just gives you something to talk about like besides Cutco. So it's always great to like wish your customers happy birthday if they explicitly told you when it was, and even reaching out to them when like holidays come up, so like Christmas, Thanksgiving, or anything that they celebrate. So like talking about like what they're doing for the holidays, and then also offering them deals that we have when like holidays come up. And just doing this just develops more of a long-term relationship with them, since you're contacting them throughout the year about non-Cutco related things. So when you tell them about like your push goal that you have, or like a contest period that's ending, or something that you're really working towards, like a scholarship even, it's more of like asking a favor from a friend. So does that make sense to everyone? Okay, all right, awesome. I'm glad you guys are following. And so third, I'm just gonna talk about seed dropping briefly. So what this is like making little hints or like little notes that there will be a future interaction with you. So you want to start like dropping seeds on the demo to just let the customer know. It's something that's not like, it's kind of like subconscious. It's not really something that's like direct. But this is a line that I really love using. When I'm especially like in a contest period, but I would even recommend using it on every single demo. So at the end of the demo, if there was a no sale, like after referrals, or even before it could be, this is what I would ask at the end of every demo. So if it was a no sale, I would say like, by the way, if I'm really close to my goal, can I reach back out to you to see if you're interested in trying out some Cutco items? Then if they say yes, that means yeah, I'm writing down yes, I'm definitely reaching back out. Um, and the thing is that I don't know why I said if they said yes. I've never had someone say no, don't reach out before. There I'd say 100% I'm gonna say yes, just because it's like not really a big deal. They even probably want to hear back from you, especially if the demo was fun and if they had a fun time on the demo. Even if they bought, I would still ask this question. I would just change it a little bit. I would say, by the way, if I'm really close to my goal, can I reach back out to you, see if you'd be interested in adding more Cutco items to your collection? So both they still show that there's going to be some kind of future interaction with them, just phrased differently based on if they bought or not. And then fourth is actually the follow-up email that I like to send. So I like to send this email to customers who, mainly customers who didn't buy. Sometimes I do still send it to customers who do buy if I know that they were thinking about getting something more in the future. So this is an actual email that I sent to one of my customers. As you can see, it's from March 26th of this year. So I said, um, "Hi, Miss Julia. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation. I really appreciate it. I've attached our catalog website and some of the images from the slides with our prices and specials that you could please show your husband. I look forward to speaking to you tonight at 6:30. Thank you so much." And then I put my number, my name, my number, and then some links. So I would say I would like change this a little bit. So I have my subject as like Cutco. I would change the subject to be Cutco follow up with catalog and pricing. So yeah, I would pretty much say if you have any questions, you can email me, shoot me a text, or just call. I would add that in there. Then I look forward to speaking to you at this time. And if you don't have a follow up time, just say like I look forward to speaking. Sorry, just say with your husband if you look to purchase Cutco in the future. So yeah, I would say I look let's see. Yeah, so I would say I would look forward to speaking to you if you want to purchase Cutco in the future. And so yeah, I would say thank you so much. Then I would add like your Cutco girl or guy, and then I would put charisma, your name, and then your number. And then below, I just attached some images from the slide. So I have the 3 set clothes, galley set, starter set, individual pieces, and I put like gadgets, cookware, and flatware. I don't just put things that they showed interest in. I put everything that we have on the slides just because if they are showing their husband and they haven't watched the video, I do just want to get everything in there. So I put that in the images as well. Sometimes I also well actually yeah, I also put in the forever guarantee, which really like helps to build value that these aren't like overpriced knives. So I also put that in there, and that's also like just in case they don't show their husband or their spouse the video. So I have a screenshot of that in there. So now we're gonna get into future marketing for contests. Okay. So I would say like honestly, the reason why so I'm just gonna go ahead and see. Okay, so cool. So this is the first customer I'm going to talk about. I'm going to use specific examples. Let me actually go back. So this was a customer that it was really easy to remember her because she was actually one of the first demos that I did when I first started in May. So she was my guidance counselor's cousin, and I remember we had a super fun time on the demo. She was a no sale, but she gave me, I think, 11 referrals. I still have the notes of her in my notebook, but she was really interested in the essential set. I followed up with her last year around like November, December, but it was a really bad time. She said that her TV broke and like she wouldn't be able to get the set. So I was like, okay, well, like I'll follow up with you like another time. So this is kind of how the conversation went. This is February 1st, actually. So I'm like, hi, Mr. DJ. Oh, and by the way, I just also want to know I got a new phone. So it was different. I used another phone before when I spoke to all these customers. So I had to introduce myself from an unknown number. So I said, "Hi, Miss Rhodesia. It's Charisma, the college student from over the summer, showing Cutco, and also like Miss Howell's former guidance assistant. How are you?" She's like, "Hey, sweetie, I know who you are. How are you?" I'm like, "Wow, that's great. She remembers me." I'm like, "I'm good. How are you doing?" She's like, "I'm good. Busy as always. How's school? Are you home or on campus?" And I'm just like telling her about my experience on campus and everything. Um, she's like, "Do you like your school?" We have a little bit of a conversation. And I asked her, like, how's the business going? Because I took a note that she was in this like jewelry business. And she's like, tells me about the business. I'm like, that's so good to hear. And I love this part. She's like, "Are you still doing Cutco?" Because that was perfect since I was at the end of the contest period for winning the what was then Puerto Rico trip. So I was like, this is perfect. Like you're getting right into what I'm about to ask you. So I'm like, yes, actually, like I'm about to make a year with the company. I'm also in this big contest that ends today where I get the chance to win a trip to Puerto Rico. And I'm only 640 away. Do you think you'd want to try out that essential set or any pieces? And so I remember, that she was really interested in the essential set, and I tried to use like a number that was not too big or not too small. And she's like, "Sure, like how much is the set again?" So I show her. First, I show her like our larger options just in case like she was interested in those other ones. And then I explain like the essentials, and this is like all over text. I I think that I was, like, working on other orders, that's why I didn't call her. I would probably recommend, like, calling the customer instead. But yeah, she says, like, "Yes, let's do the essentials," and I'm like, "Okay, great, like, do you want them in these handles or these handles?" And basically I closed on that essentials. But what's gonna be really cool that happens after this is that I went back and I looked at the referrals that she had given me. And I looked back and checked like who I was able to speak to and who like I wasn't able to speak to. And after that callback, she actually told me to reach back to her cousin who ended up getting a basic set and then gave me over 10 referrals in the week after. So not when the push ended, but following the next week. And so, yeah, I would just say, like, make sure to also look back at how many people they referred you to previously and ask them if they could reach back out to the referrals and ask them if they could sit down with you or if they have anyone new they could recommend. And then, that's basically how it ended. And then I'm like, "Thank you so much for helping me out." I called her and everything, and she's like, "Call my sister later or tomorrow evening." And as you can see, yeah, on the 15th, I'm like, "Yeah, like your sister got a basic set and gave me 10 referrals," which she was super happy to hear about. And here's like the last example I'm gonna give. This is Miss Eunice. I love her. She's like my favorite customer, but yeah, this is my new number. So I'm like, "Hi, it's Charisma, the college student from over the summer. How are you?" I'm doing good. Like, how are you liking your gadgets? And yeah, also like just go back and see what they purchased if you didn't make a note of that. She's like, "I love them. That's great. I'm glad you love it. Is there anything you're interested in adding to your collection at all?" And I use like this emoji just because I felt like pretty comfortable with this customer and like I felt like using emojis was okay. She's like, "Yes, actually, I need kitchen stuff like a really good spatula, kitchen scissors." And guys, you have to think about that if you don't reach out to them, like you'll never know. Like this is really money that you're missing out on. And she actually needed kitchen things, which was like perfect. I ended up closing on I think 4 steak knives and like some other gadgets, which was cool. But yeah, and then also I ended up selling I think like a little over 6,000. And yeah, in this contest period, which was able to get me to the second part that I needed for Puerto Rico, which was great. But yeah, I would just say that like the reason why I was able to talk to my customers like in this way is because I built so much rapport with them on the demo and they have last year, and like they remembered me and like they had a fun time, so I feel like it was easy for me to talk to them. But as far as building rapport, that's actually what Jacob is going to be talking about. So yeah, that was pretty much following up with customers, and then you guys should. I definitely recommend going to the workshop on building rapport because that's going to be super important when following up with customers. So yeah, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna stop recording.